Imagine standing before a doorway built more than 3,200 years ago, a doorway so massive that each stone weighs several tons. You walk through a long stone corridor carved into a hillside. At the end, a towering entrance appears. Beyond it lies a perfectly shaped stone dome, rising over 13 meters high, built without cement, without steel, and without modern tools. For more than 1,000 years, this mysterious chamber held the record for the largest dome ever constructed on Earth. This incredible monument is known today as the Treasury of Atreus. But despite its name, it was never a treasury. It was a royal tomb, built by one of the most powerful civilizations of the Bronze Age. To understand this monument, we must travel back to the powerful civilization of Mycenaean civilization. Around 1600 to 1100 BC, the Mycenaeans dominated mainland Greece. Their fortified cities controlled trade routes across the Mediterranean, and their kings ruled from massive stone citadels. The greatest stronghold was Mycenae, located in the northeastern Peloponnese. Mycenae was not just a city, it was the legendary home of the warrior king Agamemnon, who led the Greeks during the mythical Trojan War. And according to legend, the royal dynasty that ruled Mycenae was known as the House of Atreus. This connection is why the tomb was eventually called the Treasury of Atreus. But historians believe the real king buried here remains unknown. The tomb lies just outside the ancient citadel of archaeological site of Mycenae. Visitors approaching the structure first encounter a massive stone corridor called a dromos. This passage stretches 36 meters, carved directly into the hillside and lined with enormous blocks of stone. At the end of the corridor stands a monumental doorway nearly 18 feet tall. Above the entrance is a triangular opening designed to reduce pressure on the stone lintel, a clever architectural trick also used at the famous Lion Gate. This small detail reveals something remarkable. The Mycenaeans were master engineers. Once you pass through the doorway, the interior suddenly opens into one of the most breathtaking spaces in ancient architecture. A perfectly shaped stone dome rises above you. The chamber is 13.5 meters high, 14.5 meters wide. It was built using a technique called corbelled masonry, where each layer of stone slightly overlaps the one below it. Slowly, ring by ring, the stones narrow toward the top, forming a dome without mortar. There are 33 rings of massive stone blocks, each carefully cut and balanced. For over 1,300 years, this chamber held the title of the largest dome ever built, until the Romans constructed the Pantheon in the 2nd century AD. Hidden within the main dome is a small side chamber carved directly into the rock. This is where the actual burial likely took place. Inside would have been a Mycenaean king surrounded by precious grave goods, gold ornaments, weapons, ceremonial armor, and luxury items from across the Mediterranean. But when archaeologists explored the tomb, they discovered something disappointing. It had already been looted in ancient times. The treasures were long gone. Even in ancient Greece, the tomb inspired awe. In the 2nd century AD, the Greek traveler Pausanias visited Mycenae. He believed the tomb belonged to Atreus, father of Agamemnon. The name stuck, and the monument became known forever as the Treasury. What makes this tomb even more fascinating is when it was built. Around 1250 BC, the Mycenaean world stood at its peak. But only a few decades later, something catastrophic happened. Cities burned, kingdoms collapsed, trade networks disappeared. Historians call this mysterious period the Bronze Age collapse. The civilization that built this monumental tomb vanished, but the tomb itself survived. Today, the Treasury of Atreus stands as one of the greatest surviving monuments of the Bronze Age. Its stones have endured earthquakes, wars, and thousands of years of history. And when you step inside that ancient dome, you realize something incredible. More than 3,000 years ago, human beings, without machines, cranes, or modern tools, built a structure so precise, so powerful, that it still amazes the world today. The Treasury of Atreus is not just a tomb. It is a monument to the ambition and genius of the ancient world. And somewhere within those silent stones lies the story of a forgotten king, whose tomb became one of the greatest architectural wonders of the ancient world.